Good evening. Leading our news bulletin for tonight, the opening of the new Taonga Niue Museum yesterday was celebrated by the government as one of the achievements in establishing the Taonga footprints. Honourable Toke Talangi, who is one of the initial negotiators in 2002, took great pride yesterday in announcing the opening of the new Taonga Niue building.
And I'm very, very pleased indeed that we have managed to get this building. This is only part of a grand scheme of things that eventually we hope that we will agree to build the grand Taonga Niue building that we have always dreamed about. In 2004, Prime Minister Helen Clark at that time came up here and opened, and this is one of the trees she planted. There's one over there, and the Prime Minister planted that one, the tui, and the Premier, young Vivian, planted one on the side. It was to symbolize the partnership that we have. It also symbolizes the roots that need to be, the trees that need to be planted for the roots to take hold. In the grounds that we have, and we had anticipated to build the Taonga Niue building. As you know, at the present moment, we have considered either building here or building down Halamahanga. And that decision has not as yet been finalised in Cabinet. But I am pleased, as the New Zealand High Commission has said, that we have agreed to the conceptual idea of how we should be building.
With help from New Zealand Aid, the building is the beginning of the Taonga Niue development. His Excellency Mark Blumsky, in his speech, expressed New Zealand's aspirations to assist Niue in moving forward and developing the island's assets.
This has been a long time in the making, really. I think this project was one of the very first projects I had on my desk when I became High Commissioner. I want to thank you for the opportunity for us to be here and celebrate the opening and completion of this project. The Government of New Zealand is delighted to have been able to make a contribution to the building we have behind us. Anne-Marie and I snuck in here about 4 or 5 months ago when the building was sort of finished but empty. And Maura took us through her vision for the building, and I'm really much looking forward to walking through and having a wee look inside.
Director of Taonga Niue, Moira Enetama, said she is pleased with the results of all the hard work and sometimes struggles and challenges in attaining and structuring the building to house all that is Taonga to Niue. Those that attended the opening ceremony were also treated to some rare glimpses of yesteryear and future visions of Taonga Niue. During yesterday's Taonga Niue opening, Honourable Premier Toke Talangi announced the Niue Cultural Council and Language Commission members. Honourable Premier Talangi said the entities created last year to ensure the building and development of all Taonga Niue aspects. As for the Niue Cultural Council, they will be responsible in assisting Taonga Niue office and are made up of Reverend Tumua Talangi, Mrs. Whakahula Funaki, Mr. Hagetonga Tule, Mr. Ben Tanaki and Mrs. Taumalua Jackson. Included also are some of the heads of 4 government departments: Education, Taonga Niue, Environment and the Justice Department for the Genealogy Division. The Niue Language Commission was also announced. Mrs. Whakahula Funaki, Mr. Pitasoni Tanaki, Mr. Leroy Tatui, Mr. Atapana Siokimotu and Mrs. Sifaole Ioane. Included in the lineup are the Directors of Education and Taonga Niue. Tourism developments on the island appear to be progressing forward with the expansion of the Matawai Resort, increasing the number of rooms on the island and the arrival of the second fortnightly flight. Mr. Graham Horsley, the chairman of the Niue Tourism Property Trust that has been tasked to manage funds targeted at tourism developments, is on the island. And he says that a total investment of $9 million has been given by New Zealand Aid and an additional $1 million from the Niue Development Bank. This board also consists of the New Zealand High Commissioner, Mark Blumsky, and a representative from the New Zealand Foreign Affairs. Mr. Horsley is also the chairman of the Matawai Niue Limited Board that includes the Premier, and they have been charged with the acquisition and operations of Matawai. He says that the refurbishments and developments have gone according to plan with minor disruptions.
I suppose the only disruption we had was that we found that the deck was not in great shape, and we've had to basically replace the deck. So that was really the only big disruption that we faced, that we weren't aware of at the start. And I don't think there's not much more that we can do out there. I think it's just small amounts of tidying up. We could put more rooms out there, but I think that's a long time away, long way away.
Matawai now has 44 rooms available and an additional 10 units at the new motels. The expansions have increased the accommodation sector on the island, but there have been some concerns raised by some of the local operators that Matawai appears to have an unfair advantage. Graham says that this is something that has been raised in the public discussions that he has had some time to consider.
I'm not sure we should be operating the motels. I think the motels should be operated by somebody away from us. I'm concerned that there's a difference in standard between a 4-star resort and a 2 to 3-star motel operation, and so it may be that in the next 6 months or so that we might look to exit the motels and find an operator separate from the resort operations. Is it competition? Yes, it is. But it also means that we've provided the capacity to bring people onto the island. We're basically underwriting the special packages and events that are needed to get people onto the island to provide the tourism input here. And and no one else has really put their hand up and said, look, we're going to build 10 units and filling that gap.
The hope is that over the next 5 years, the dividends from the trust will be able to be reinvested into the tourism sector for further developments. Hikulangi was buzzing with creative vibes this morning as a new edition sculpture named Sale's Fale was unveiled. Families, friends and aspiring artists were part of a short ceremony to open the memorial sculpture. The project has been months in the making and made possible with the help of Niue backpackers and also prizes offered by Crazy Unga and Niue Tourism. We spoke with Mark Cross today to find out how the project came about.
Tourism came to us some time ago, but, and said they've got some funding for us to use, but we had to incorporate the children, the school children, in the project. So I approached Charlie Jessup, and we talked about it, and we came up with this concept. But as we know, Charles passed away before we could actually do anything. But he did leave some drawings and a few ideas with us. So we, and so after he did die, it became more of a memorial to him rather than just a school kids project. And we've taken it on, we've made it much broader and brought the whole community, not only the school kids, into it.
The competition and challenge was announced last year, and organisers were surprised with the interest shown by some as young as 7 and the older folk, all keen to showcase their hidden talents.
We had 2 categories. We had school age, a school age section. If they were still at school, they could enter that section. And then we had an open age, so anybody. But then we had Crazy Unga came along with some extra funding, and so we had we put those funds towards a overall winner.
We caught up with some of those who entered the sculpture competition and asked them about why they entered and what their concepts were.
I entered because, I don't know, I wasn't really thinking, but I'm glad I joined. It was maybe to become part of something to do with the festival. I just wanted to be involved and also to be part of what Charles Jessup, our teacher, so I kind of want to take part in that too, like in remembrance of him. So I thought that was pretty creative. My sculpture was based upon flowers, and I was using only bottles. So I think that was the only idea I had in my head. But I was also thinking about Niue, how we have like a lot of beautiful flowers here.
My sculpture is called Broken Images, and if you look into it, you will see your broken image. It's about the broken things in the world that we all need to fix and we all ignore, but they never go away. So I'm trying to put together a little poem that'll go with it, and I'm hoping that I can read that at the prize giving. This was this part here was a fan, much like that one, a fan cover, and this is an old wheel hub, and broken mirror in there was already broken. I didn't have to break it, so that was good luck. And I cut this off the ends of the fan cover to make eyelashes, and then so this is my eye looking out at a broken world.
Recycling materials and making them into masterpieces open to interpretation was part and parcel of this competition. The independent judges had their work cut out for them, as there were some great innovative creations. Winners from the competition will receive their prizes during the festival next week, and this is only one of the events that is leading up to the third Niue Arts and Culture Festival that is due to begin tomorrow evening. But staying in line with the arts, renowned artist John Pule has his exhibition opening this evening, and it will be open for public viewing throughout the festival. 2 lucky young ladies will join many youths in the New Zealand Outward Bound program, sponsored by New Zealand Mint. Yesterday, Mr. Simon Harding of New Zealand Mint announced the Outward Bound program received 5 candidates from some of the young people on the island to join one of the most successful outdoor development programs in New Zealand. The 2 lucky recipients are Talotosi Sione Holo and Brittany Tangelangi. From some of the past participated students of the Outward Bound, it is one of the most challenging but most rewarding programs designed to develop young adults in outdoor pursuits, endurance, leadership roles, sporting activities, and much more. The 2 recipients will depart Niue next month.